So welcome to that was
That's a special button.
This has never happened.
Oops.
So hello, Pavel. We haven't met before. We can use our time wisely, waiting for the host to join again whilst we look at the steps here.
You're muted. I pressed the button beside the one I should have pressed, and I guess I got dropped off. It's sometimes I shouldn't put the buttons so close together. Anyway, okay, we might as well get started. So welcome to this the September 2023 and December 2023, 2021, the last meeting of the year. Does anybody have any announcements they want to share before we get started?
All good. We have some time to do some work, hopefully. Nothing else goes wrong in internet land. Can use some of this Christmas break to get some work done here.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's move on to the issues that were tagged for the agenda. The first one is team membership audit number 497. I think that's a good idea, and maybe we can just talk a little bit about how we should do that. Let me look at the...
I think perhaps the obvious way is just there was a huge number when we first did, I don't know, 150. And perhaps the simple thing is just to reach out and just create an issue, do an at their name, say, are you still interested? Some people I know that were interested have re-talked about it again and might like to rejoin in the end of the year.
Right.
But we also have to do the flip side of that, is as well as changing our register, is recruiting more people to the team. And I must admit, I have not been as active in that front. Perhaps none of us have been as we should have been. And we all know that we now have a somewhat mature ecosystem and it needs help more than ever.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, so I'm creating an issue as we speak, which is membership audit. Please respond. So I think I'll just say, we are doing a membership audit as suggested in this one. Unless you, so I'm going to say, unless you respond, unless you have been in a recent meeting or respond to this issue, we'll assume it's okay to move you to emeritus. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
And would we want to give people like 2 weeks, 3 weeks? What kind of timeline?
Let's give them a month. Like, this is not a good time of year for most people.
Yeah.
Let's say for 2 weeks of this, depending upon where you're on the world, the Christmas season doesn't really end for some people until like 14 days after Christmas.
Sounds good. So I'll say, like, unless you have been in a recent meeting or respond to this issue within 30 days, we'll assume it's okay to move you to emeritus. Sound good? And then I copied the list of members that we had and pasted it in. So that should like at everybody, I think. Okay. So I will put that created, carry out the audit. Anything else we should talk about on that one? If not, yeah, in the new year, we can talk about, right, do I need to promote somebody? Sorry, let me go back to the participants, yeah. Right, and then, yeah, I think you're right, Glenn, in the new year, we should try and see if we can, basically recruit some new people as well. The next issue is status update and next steps for PKGS Create. I think Dominicus, maybe you've been taking the lead on that one.
No, not the create one.
No, okay.
That's
Sorry.
Wes and Darcy.
Ah, right. Okay, that's the one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's still interesting. I just think nobody's quite popped to the top of their list. I guess no update this week then, right? Suggested list of modules to get help support info. I don't think there's any update on that this week either. And then draft documentation promotion. So I think, right, let's see where we are on that one. I know we had a few PRs. I'm just wondering if we landed those. I can see a number of them are checked off except for the CI/CD one, which I'm looking at 340. There's an issue there. I guess that one we still need to, although I see an issue, but the last comment I see was from you, Glenn, that says, I'll start this as soon as the testing in docs PR 377 is merged.
Oh dear, was that in my salad days before I learned not to volunteer for things until I finished other things?
It could be.
So currently I want to finish the documents for Weeby. That's currently what I just, I do see some feedback from a thing, but I think got to get the stuff we put our hands up for done. And so that's the one I'm gonna get done this Christmas break.
Yeah, I was just looking the CI/CD guidelines.
Ah, yes, I did volunteer to do that, and we should absolutely do that. I did promise Dominicus we would do that after we've done the other ones.
Okay, because there was a doc. I guess it's just because I think that this issue was talking about promoting what we already had. Oh. So is this? Did you actually maybe?
I did write some.
There's that. So I think this issue is more about promoting that to, like, if we're ready to promote that to out of draft anyway.
Yeah. So that was the testing guidelines. Yeah. That was a short, but to the point, tests are good.
Well, that was a CI/CD draft.
The CI/CD we haven't done it. What we did, I think we agreed to do it separately because that was more controversial. We couldn't reach agreement.
I pasted the link into the chat there, though. We have one which is in the draft section.
Oh yeah, we do. We can certainly go back and look at it. So sorry. So one of the things about CI/CD is it has somewhat changed during the lifetime of this group. What we do and things perhaps we used to do may not be being done anymore. That the world is moving a little bit more, at least in open source, to take advantage of GitHub Actions and what's been done there, or away from perhaps other tools we used in the past. And Dominic has wanted us to actually call out what tools to use. I seem to remember from that discussion, like, these are the tools you can use, but we should have a preference. I think that was where it was, wasn't it, Dominicus? Or are we all suffering from?
I vaguely remember something along these lines, but I'm not sure if it was related to CI/CD. And generally, I tend to favor not calling out the tools. However, what this CI/CD says is that it's about, things that people maybe want to build that should be reusable CI/CD templates. And having built one recently, which I still need to write the documentation for and start to actually promoting it a little bit, maybe it's worth calling out that one particular tool because No, I mean, yeah, I generally think that maybe we shouldn't be calling out specific tools or modules, namely because there's a lot of them. But then again, on the other hand, CI/CD, in terms of what CI things you can use, especially for open source, there's quite a limited set. So maybe it's okay to do that.
Right. So I think that, yeah, okay. So the last one to promote, from draft, like we'd noticed that we had some content, and Owen had said, hey, we should work on getting them out of draft. So I think this is the last one. And yeah, it does look like, okay, Glenn, you'd volunteered to sort of review it before we just decide what we want to do before we did that.
In all fairness, I think we can just promote it. We can always extend it and create issues and open pull requests to fix up. I don't think that it's yeah, the drafts folder, I mean, has
Yep.
a massive need going forward. There's a few other documents in there, I think, that we also may want to move.
I looked at a couple of them. There were a couple of the other ones were empty.
Huh, didn't realize that. Maybe we should just remove them and create issues to fill them in.
Yeah. I'd be okay with just promoting and then adjusting afterwards, unless anybody has any concerns. Yeah, I agree. Like back in time, the draft made more sense for us to sort of work on them, get comfortable. But now that we've got a bunch, we should just have everything in the top level. Okay, so that sounds like the next step on that one for somebody to open a PR to move it up from the draft directory. Let's just take a next.
I'll take charge on that.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so that actually takes us to the end of the agenda for this week. I don't know if there's anything else that people want to talk about before the end of the year.
We just go over the Wibby stuff. So I do see some comments in there from you, Dominika. Thank you. You didn't say anything terrible, like I hate this style of writing. You had succinct, like I don't like these words, which is great. I'm going to continue in that style, do as much as I can. Leave your comments in and come back and circle back and hit all the things, like this is a whole sentence when a word could do comments.
Yeah, I think if you were to open a PR, then we can collaborate on the PR and
Okay.
we can see what needs to extend. What I do think is that I need to drop some diagrams there unless you want to do them, which maybe would give at a glance thing, because there's been a few occasions recently where people were asking things about it, and all I could give them was a very old video with the demo that I did
Okay,
I don't know, a year and a half ago or so. So just having some diagrams about how it works would probably be handy. I'm happy to do those as well if you.
I'm very happy to collaborate on that stuff. I'm going to, this last year has been somewhat trying, and so I'm trying to get off onto a new fit, seeing as this doesn't look like the situation is not going to end anytime soon.
Yeah.
I have two small questions about some kind of promotion. Maybe we should write some kind of article to describe current status and our progress in our team. And also maybe create some kind of public talk or round table with community leaders, or maybe some open source leaders about our activity, about ecosystem and our drafts for promotion reasons also.
I agree. No, I agree. And we should get, we have done this in the past, but we somewhat slipped somewhere in the midst of the COVID pandemic. And I think for like 7 or 8 months, we haven't been as active as we had been in the past. And I think that is to do perhaps for the lack of real FaceTime from the last couple of years now. So it's been probably over a couple of years since any of us met.
Yeah, those are two good ideas. I'm thinking maybe,
Yeah.
do you want to open some issues in the repo so that when we come back in January, we can start with those?
I can think about it offline. Also, I have some little experience with roundtables organization, and I can create some draft or maybe a draft scenario about it, and during the next meeting, we can see all the results.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Because yeah, no, that it would be good. It's a good time, I think, to do, like you suggest, an update where we're at and what the key things, problems we think there are, and then some other way to get some more engagement in terms of that. Since I don't know if we're going to be going to a conferences in the near future, so some other alternatives is a good idea.
Yep.
So.
Great.
Okay, no, thanks. Thanks for volunteering for that. Any other things we should talk about this time? If not, then I'll say thanks for everybody for attending today. Thanks for everybody who's watching, and we'll look forward to see everybody in the new year, and hope everybody has good holidays if you have them, and see you later.